Welcome, welcome. You are on the Hope Dealer 1177 channel. I'm Rick. We're gonna have a talk. I I can't tell you if this is not a tarot reading. I do have some cards in front of me, but I don't know. Okay, this is a story. It has nothing to do with these cards per se. Maybe it does. It's interesting how this all happened here. I got 4 cards, and then I walked away, and for a couple hours, kind of decided to talk on something. And we'll get down to this next series of cards. And I'm not even going to talk about these cards right now because I don't even know if like this all apply. I don't know. We're going to feel this one out here because the intentions is to tell a story. I just got these cards in front of me. We'll just take it as it comes. All right. Because I do feel like there's a central character that is part of this story. In fact, is and it was the first card that came up after the break, like literally the first card. I'll show you. Queen of Wands. Why do I always see this card? Why does this card always pop out? It's a good question. I mean, I asked that question myself too. Do I know fire signs that Leo, Sagittarius, Aries? A Leo? Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this. We are going to start with a prayer for sure. So, Spirit, thank you. I ask for clarity, truth. I mean, not asking for it, but you know what I mean? May I speak it the way it needs to be spoken? I mean, it's for me. This is for me. But, if others can learn or just want to listen or whatever, it is whatever. So, we just pray for clarity. That's what we're praying for here. Or whatever. What may be, may be. It is what it is. That kind of stuff. Now, there is a... Man, my voice. I think I'm starting to get... might be picking up something again. I don't know, dude. I got to take Zycam again. So... Okay, I got some lyrics. I'm not going to tell you what song it's from or anything. I just want you to listen to this. No band, no song. Just listen to this. And this isn't like the whole lyrics to the song. It's just a portion of it. I embrace my desire to. It's times two. I feel the rhythm to feel connected enough to step aside and weep like a widow, to feel inspired, to fathom the power, to witness the beauty, to bathe in the fountain, to swing on the spiral, times two, of how a divinity can still be a human. This song is really amazing. It is called Lateralus by the band Tool. Y'all check it out. Or don't. Whatever. But these lyrics are pretty cool. I don't know. I remember being high as a kite on heroin and really digging this song, and here we are over 20 years later, and still really digging these lyrics in this song, but it makes so much more sense now. Time can do that. But see, something can resonate or whatever. Something may click. Like the soul's like, oh. But like, it may take time. And it may come in like layers of an onion, right? Okay. Sometimes things take time to peel back the layers. So I'm going to talk about, well, it's a birthday gift. It's a birthday kind of story. um, it's about a person, right, who gave somebody a gift, right? A monetary birthday gift. Now, we could say, right, prior to this, things were already a little fucked up. Maybe a lot. So, let me go back a little further, right? It's like this. I can only really tell this from, I mean, I am telling this from my perspective. It is my story, right? But from a addict point of view, like someone in recovery, but even before recovery, uh, like you can make the right decisions and still be kind of fucking up, if you know what I'm saying here. Like you're making right decisions, but see, those decisions, like when you enter into a recovery space for yourself, whichever way, excuse me, whichever way that is for you. However, rehab, meetings, inpatient, outpatient, etc., whatever, whichever way you get there, right? But then you start making these decisions and actions towards a better life, right? And then a couple years later, you find yourself still kind of like in that same situation you were prior to recovery. And that's when you got to kind of like stop and say, okay, we need to evaluate some things, right? And what I evaluated and came to the determination was I needed to make some, changes in my life. Like, or otherwise, I'm going to keep getting what I've been getting. Okay? Because one of us was changing and the other one was just kind of riding the coattails of the other, not really doing the inner work of recovery. Oh, yeah, on the outside, hey, sure, whatever. But, it will eventually reflect what's on the inside, the outside. You can dress up a trash can all you want, but eventually those clothes and the lipstick or the whatever, it falls off the trash can and reveals a trash can because it was always a trash can. Okay. And for me and myself, part of this I was like, dude, like, you know what I mean? I'm a spiritual person. And sometimes when things pop in my feed from the algorithm, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay. So something pops in my feed that really resonated. Like I'm telling you, man, I'm up burning the midnight oil, like being like, dude. And like I'm coming to a hard truth, like that this equation is just not making sense. It's not adding up. And so let's subtract one of these pieces of this equation out. And we subtract that thing out, guess what? Fucking things are really good. Things are really good. Add in that equation, that piece of the equation that's dressed up that looks good, but it's not really good. You see what I'm saying? And that funks up the rest of that equation. But now I'm like, how do I do this, right? How do I do this without fucking burning this place down, like, metaphorically, having chaos because the other person is very violent, turbulent, aggressive when this person doesn't get what they want or manipulate or whatever. But you know what I mean? I was quietly like nurturing a dream. Something, right? Something, you know? And, well, earlier this year, right? In March, I went to the Philippines. This is something I was trying to do for a little bit of time. It goes back to this period where I was burning the midnight oil, sitting at the kitchen table. You know, that was during COVID. COVID was a blessing in disguise for me. I mean, it was just I was able to look at things, evaluate things, and be like, finally be like, okay, look, I got a little bit of break here. What's going on here? Because after like 3 years of recovery or whatever, I'm like, dude, like, this shit looks fucked up. Like, there wasn't nothing really, like, there wasn't growth. There wasn't growth. Forward movement. It was like locked in at a certain place, and it was not, for me, a destination. Maybe this represents COVID. Four Swords, Two of Pentacles. Taking a break, looking where there's imbalances, trying to bring balance to these things. Guess what the next card is? Tower. Fucking right, dude. Absolutely a tower. A good one. I don't know what tower isn't good, because a legit tower is something of a system that is not serving you, or some type of mindset or structure that, you know what I mean? We have a square tower with a round crown on top. They don't fit, okay? So a bolt of lightning comes down. Two people falling out of this structure. That could be a relationship. For me, that's what it was, right? An imbalanced relationship that went on for way too fucking long. So after the tower, you gotta start healing and rebuilding, restructure, getting aligned and restructuring from within. And on the outside, Devil card, Capricorn energy. The chains, they're loose. And they're not tight around the necks. They can just take them off. But that's not the point here in this read, but I'm just shedding some light on that, right? But, you know what I mean? It's having that structure to build, that structure and responsibility to take order in the material here, But it's not being a martyr for people, right? It's being there for yourself too, first and foremost. And so after that tower, right, things can look a little dark. People may look at you like, oh, what the fuck, you're fucked up, why'd you do that, or da 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 da, or blah 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 blah. Because maybe things on the outside look like they were okay, but they really weren't okay. And maybe some people could see that too and know that, but whatever. But when you start breaking chains and patterns, oh, good Lord, look out, man. Look out. That was the first four cards. I guess I am kind of blending this in because I don't know, man. This is just how the day went, and this is what's in front of me, and I did not want to take these cards away because after those first four, and I was like, I'm just going to let those there because I really like this. Four Swords, Two of Pentacles, Tower, Devil. Yeah. And then I take I go do some things, take a long hot bath, and I'm like, okay, Spirit, let's go. Look, what's the first card pops out? Like immediately. This was like, I didn't go through too many cards. Like this card literally was like, blink. Queen of Wands again. Queen of Wands again. Leo energy. I'm going to call it as it is. As I always do. I don't know what's up here, right? But beside this Queen of Wands is the King of Cups. And the next card that came out after that was Ten of Pentacles. Last card. What does that mean? I don't know. I could read that so many fucking different ways, or this whole thing. But I don't know. That's why I'm keeping these three off to the side. So we got Four Swords, Two of Pentacles, Tower, Devil, Queen of Wands, King of Cups, Ten of Pentacles. All upright. And also, I want to state, all my reads and all my decks are uniform. They're all the same direction. They're all upright, if you will. I don't play with mixed decks. Because you know why? I don't need reversals. Like, they'll be reversed if they're supposed to be reversed. Make no mistake about that. Spirit don't play. So why do we need to have decks with cards up and down, up and down, up and down? I don't know, dude. But I do find that to be some bullshit. That's just my opinion. You do with that as you please. But I guarantee you here, every read starts with a deck of cards that are all upright. And I put them away all upright because I think having a mixed deck is some bullshit. Okay? That's someone that just wants to, like, they I don't know. Look, maintaining a tarot channel, I don't know, man, bro. Like, there's so many different flavors and spices and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I just like to keep this really real and grounded, and I'm not here to, like, build fantasies or shit like that. I'll read this as I read it for me, like you, whatever. Take what you need, leave the rest. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to state that because there's a lot out there with cards this way and that way, and they're just pulling them out. Like, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like, they're all supposed to be a certain way. Might be a problem with the reader reading energy of cards. I don't know. I'm just saying that's some bullshit. This is why you got to really trust yourself, your connection to spirit, your intuition, discernment. Anyway, back to the story. Like, so what I was noticing, maybe during this phase, was patterns. Patterns I seen during childhood, after childhood, adolescence, teenage years, adult life. But these are patterns I grew up in, systems and, cycles. And then I see that pattern, cycles in my life, in my relationships. And I'm like, I know where this gets me because I watched it play out for other people, right? So I'm like, dude, I need to fucking... And, I'm in the middle of all this. Now I'm focusing on somewhere else. But it's like it's one of those things that you leave on the back burner. Like, it wasn't a back burner thing to start with, but it became a back burner type of thing. Like, yeah, I'll get there when I get there. I really want to go and, experience a new culture and place, just go somewhere totally foreign to me. But I was researching it, learned the language, and, I had a few friends, online friends, none of which who I talk to today. But, that's not so much a Rick thing as it is a them thing. Because, you know what I mean? Like, dude, when people act goofy, I've had enough of that shit, dude. And this is part of the patterns I had to learn and break because I already knew them. But, it was during this process of breaking patterns, seeing them, breaking them, moving forward. And it takes time, but sometimes it can be fast, right? But because I was in a situation of, like vulnerable, early recovery, like 3 years in. Oh, but see, people think, right? Oh, you're in recovery. You got it all together, right? Oh, you got a year or you got 2 years, 3 years. You got it all fixed and figured out, right? No, dude. This is just the beginning of the healing. This is just the beginning of it all. Like, people aren't perfect when they walk out of rehab. People aren't perfect after IOP or because they went to 100 till they went to 90 meetings in 90 days. But see, the family doesn't understand addiction like the addict does, unless they also are addicts. But, to break these patterns, to break these addictions, right? These attachments, so And also, like, I mean, because I was on medication assisted treatment. I went to the methadone clinic. I went there for 7 years. And so I couldn't travel international with the methadone. But see, when I went walking, as I'm walking into that clinic, which it took 30 days to get seen at that clinic. Amazing, right? They're supposed to be helping people, et cetera, et cetera. But 30 fucking days to an addict, they could be dead. Luckily, I was just maintaining to get to the clinic. But you want to talk about a place that drags, that I don't know if they do anymore, but I can tell you back in July and June of 2016, that place drug its feet like a motherfucker. Like, I mean, literally, like, people could fucking die. And they're like, oh, well, we can't do an intake because there's all excuses. And eventually they're like, oh, that person was on vacation. And then to find out years later that any of the counselors there could have done the intake. So why wasn't me and this other person seen in a timely fashion when we call? 30 days. 30 days, dude. Those are a long 30 days. Anyway, though, back to the story is that I was like, I'm not doing this my whole life. I don't want to be on medication my whole life. I've seen that pattern already before. So I went in there with that mindset, like, I'm not doing this forever. And I didn't. I said I'm going to do something. I'm going to fucking do it. It just happens, like, some people think that because they want to do something, it has to happen right now at this time, because sometimes things take time. So, I'm going through all kinds of stuff, but I'm, keeping this dream, keeping this, like, and I don't know, man, if the Philippines is just a catalyst or there's more to it than that, but um, I had this friend, right? We were just friends, dude. And then when it came to me coming, like, to visit on this person acted all weird. Started acting weird. And I was like, oh, more patterns. More patterns. More patterns that I don't want nothing to do with. Even if there was something more there than friendship, potentially. Dude, when you go from one, like, we'll say burning house, um, and the next house, potentially, we're not saying anything because we were just friends. I'm just saying, potentially, whether it's a friend or potential lover, whatever, a colleague, a family member, if that's another burning house, it's really fucking hard to walk up in that burning house, if you know what I'm saying. Like, oh, I can still feel the flames of this burning house chapping my ass. Like, let's walk the front end into this one over here while I'm still healing up the backside. Like, do you know what I'm saying? This person didn't like that because I was calling their shit out. And I was like, dude, I'm not doing, like, you know what I mean? I'll give you some time. Talk to me in a couple months. Like, dude, for real, bro. I gave this person a birthday gift. Like, this person meant a lot to me. I care about this person still to this day. I love her. Like, she was a special friend to me. But you know what? I can't heal people. They need to heal themselves. And if people want to act toxic and all this other bullshit, that's on them. That's not on me. Don't expect me to play along. I might have a little bit. You know what I mean? But I don't send money to people like that or anything. But this was a friend of mine, and I was like, well, if you were here in the United States, I'd be like, here, or let's go out to eat, or here's. So I did what I said. I missed her birthday year before. It's something I was trying to do, right? And I was like, well, here, I'll just send $30. Okay. That converts to like roughly like 1,800 pesos. I was like, just go do something nice for yourself. Poof, disappear, gone. $30, 1,800 pesos. We're not talking a lot of money. For her, it might have been. But she thought like, oh God, oh fuck, $30. Like that really fucked me up. Like, dude, it was a gift. You know what I mean? A birthday gift to someone I cared about. No strings attached, nothing. That's what gifts are. Or they're supposed to be. So it must have been a lot to her. But it's really not a lot over there either. So, that showed me about everything I needed to fucking see on top of everything that I had previously seen. The patterns that I clocked that I didn't say anything about. The little things that I didn't say anything about. This is a friend, but like, and I did have some talks with her about some shit before, here and there, here and there. But it was always like, no, 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 denial, denial. But it's like, but see, I was still like, in a very wounded spot, very shrunken and burned the fuck out, But yeah, dude, like, so shit's weird, man. But because she couldn't manipulate and all this other bullshit, she just decides to disappear. Really childish, really immature. Decides to contact me. See, I was supposed to leave December 11th of 2024. Because in my passport was clear to enter the Philippines. You got to wait 6 months on a new visa. I mean, a passport. And so I 6 months today, bam. I had to reschedule. So I rescheduled out to March 11th, 3 months away. But before my departure, like mid-November, dude, I like felt it too. I was like, check your email. I don't check my email. Not that often. I really don't like email. But because that's the only way that me and this person can communicate. That's on them. And well, lo and behold, there's that email. Classic, because like throughout the time that we've been friends or were or whatever, sometimes, and both of us did this. I'm not going to say she, but like we would kind of like weave in and out of each other's lives. Like there'd be like periods of no talking, but then we'd, be talking again. Like nothing happened, but just I have a life here. This person has a life over there. So, but yeah, I was like, oh, look who shows up. Why are you mad? Blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, I ain't mad. I mean, I forgot about you, bro. Like, I put that shit behind me back, like, in September. Like, but here you are, trying to stir up more problems before I leave. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what is your deal? Like, it's either you talk to me, we're friends, whatever, we'll meet when I come over there or something, or stay the fuck away. Stop fucking coming in and out. All or nothing. Like, and that's just as a friend. Like, you're going to be cool, you're going to be cool. Not these fucking games and manipulation and shit. But see, this is someone who lives a different life online. Portrays, like, lives this fantasy of, like, being something they're not. Like many others online. That's something you're not going to get here. You're going to get Rick 100% authentic. I ain't showing up, with it. I'm not necessarily here to entertain. I'm here for myself. This whole thing, this whole hope dealer stuff, dude, this all started for myself. And it was like, if anyone, my agreement with Spirit was like, this helps others, so be it. I'm doing this for me. And I could talk about a lot other, but I wanted to talk about this specifically. You know what I mean? Because like this is part of the things I got to put behind me, and I have, and I continue to. But like this fucking card just keeps showing up all the time, dude, all the time. Like I don't even want to even. So what's up, right? What's up with this card popping up in the energy all the time? And then the next card's King of Cups. And then the next card's Ten of Pentacles. I'm not going to interpret those three cards. I'm not going to interpret those two cards. What does that mean? I don't know, dude. You know, I don't know. So, when you start, when you start somewhere and you're locked into a system, you're locked into patterns, you're locked into cycles, right? With somebody else. And as you start breaking away, and you know what I mean? Like it's a process. But the more you choose yourself, the more you stop shrinking, the more you heal, the more you choose you over others, if you stop bleeding and leaking out, you know what I mean? The less you stop chasing, the less you, doing all that shit, right? Trying to make others better at the expense of yourself. Carrying the load of others in whichever form and shape that may occur, because it could be in many different ways and shapes and forms. Emotionally, spiritually, financially, mentally, etc., etc., etc. But those are the big ones there. Yeah. And then I started noticing all these other patterns, but see, they were already clocked. I would break away from things and then I'd go right back to them. Break away, go back. Leave Pennsylvania and go to Washington State. Month and a half later, I go back. Oh, I missed you. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just fucking wounded and fucking stuck in this bullshit with this other person. This is way, way back. But I'm just showing you, like, but you know what? Like, I would, like, get back to me and feel good and then go back to this bullshit. So when I'm trying to make a clean break away from somebody, and then I'm thinking about doing this trip, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not trying to fucking lock in on, like, like the outcome must be this or the outcome must be that. It's like, just go, live, be, experience. And that's what I did do. But I did it by myself for the most part. I met up with one of the friends early on, and then this person got all goofy. And I was like, I cannot be around you. Because as long as you're going to make statements like that, that makes me fear for my safety, in the sense of that I could get locked up here in a foreign country on the other side of the world, and maybe you might like to see that for me. Why are you talking like this? Because here, I'll just lay it out there, because I don't pull no punches, but this one here was really glaring, screaming in your face by the words alone. Just talking with this person, and went out to eat with her and her family. But like this person was like saying shit like, and this is someone I knew for years. I will not come up to your hotel and have sex with you. Yo, where are you getting that information at? 1, you haven't been invited in. 2, I'm not about that. 3, like, I mean, I'm not about that like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but never did the word sex come out of my mouth or come into my hotel or anything like that. I'm trying to get to know you as a friend, which we already have established, previously. It's a different person. We'll call this person a Queen of Cups. And, it's like, and I'm just going off zodiacs here, okay? We'll just call this person the Queen of Cups. And then this person said this again. And I was like, dude, I'm like, no, like, you cannot be around me. I said, all I can picture is this Filipino running out my room and being like, you said that twice. I told you once. Now you say that again on two different occasions? Nah, homie, we're done. We're done here, bro. Well, girl, we're done here. And then it was all this manipulation, like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, dude, like, you might be adjusted to an old version of me, but I already told you about, like, come on now. So I was by myself then after that. I mean, like, I met people, chopped it up with them, broke bread with them, went here, went there, went there. My original plans, some of my original things I wanted to do, I did not do. Because I was like, well, I'm not just going to roll out to the province by myself, like, with no one with me or not knowing, like, what I'm doing. So I'll just stick to the city. And I did. I had a great fucking time anyway. Because I really, what I wanted to do, in a sense, though, was kind of like take the fucking pulse of a nation, or at least that area, like, energetically, like, just be there, wherever I may be. It was great. When you center and anchor into yourself, when you're away from other energies, like on the other side of the world, like, you know what I mean? You just get back to you and you start feeling comfortable and all kinds of other stuff, right? And you're like, oh, yeah, the nervous system, the right one takes over. So it's something I want to talk about. Where am I at here? 37 minutes. It's about pattern recognition, breaking patterns, choosing yourself, moving forward. And I mean, like, things that are fucked up and open-ended and stuff, they just close them. These people, they're drainers, they're immature, but like, once again, like I said, I don't have bad feelings towards her. I do believe that this is just a very injured person, just like the other one, wounded. And I mean, there's certain, like, family systems and cycles over there that really interfere with things. I'm just gonna keep it a buck out here. You know what I mean? Like, there can be a lot of family manipulation there, just like here. But I mean, I did see that a lot. Whatever. I'm not judging. You know what I mean? I'm just noticing and recognizing. Awareness. Having your eyes open and not being like, I don't see that, though that's not going on. It goes on everywhere in every country, but certain cultures kind of like really depend upon that. And I'm not saying all of it's bad. Like, some of it's really good. It's beautiful. That's part of what I like about the Philippines, is the cohesiveness of family and stuff like that. But at the same time, you can have the shadow side of that, where it's manipulation and control. There might be a system or a structure that's too rigid. There could be like a mama up here on that controls things, right? That controls things. Got to break those family patterns and cycles. And if you don't, well, you're going to repeat those. Just like the generation before did, and the generation after. It just keeps on going, dude. The two sisters I spoke about, right, that hang on the phone. Well, guess what? Go back a generation, there's another two sisters. Both didn't get along. One thought they were better than the other. They both did, or I don't know. Maybe one was a little bit sweeter than the other, but still, nonetheless, a lot of fakeness, a lot of masking, a lot of like, we're best sisters. We even visit each other, but like, there was always like the energy was off. I could sense that as a kid, teenager, adolescent, whatever, dude. Like, especially when you grow up around, like, having to do pattern recognition as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, you just really pick up on stuff. Subtle cues, changes in energy, words, tone, all kinds of things. You guys out there, you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to go and explain that, but you know what I'm saying, right? So anyway, I guess that's about what I had to talk about here. Like, um, you know, these messages, like, I really don't like to. I mean, yeah, I could edit them, I could do this or that, but I like to, one cut and done. What comes out comes out. What's said is said. Now, I don't post everything, but I mean, I do kind of record and then I'll go post it. I do preview sometimes, but I do it less. You know what I mean? Like I speak what I feel and it resonates. I have no reason to doubt or to not post. When I first started this stuff a couple years ago, like, you know what I mean? I did, like, I'd record something, man, and I'd be like, oh God, like, what am I fucking saying? Like, or why doesn't this, because it wasn't true with what was inside or something was off. But see, I honored when it didn't click and I wouldn't post those things, or I'd try to re-record and, make it congruent with who I am. But that's a real good tester here on, how like true you are to yourself and everything. Because go ahead, I don't care what you do, but make sure you're being recorded, and you know what I mean. Talk some life stuff or a message. And if it doesn't, like, when you watch it, and if it like feels weird, what do? I bet you a lot of people, because like I'm saying, this happens. I don't know. I never posted those things, or if I did, I took them down. Like, I was like, oh God, like, if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Like, you record something and you'd be like, oh, like, I don't know. It's a resonance thing. But see, this is what I'm saying here, man. Like, this whole thing is just, I started doing this for me and my healing and my journey, and to share it along the way. And I'm gonna share more of these stories because, like, you know, I've spiraled far away from this stuff long enough and dealt with it. And now it's like, taking these last shovels of dirt and patting them on top. Bink, bink, bink. You know, it's just like free will, right? Surrender your will to spirit. Why am I pulling this card up? I don't know. I keep pulling that card up. Okay, look. Surrender your will to spirit. But being a living sacrifice, right? You can take your will back anytime. You can crawl off that altar anytime, or walk off, or slide off, or whatever. You can take your will back anytime. I don't know why I'm talking about this anymore. You take your will back anytime and go back to that old situation, and guess what? Another tower's gonna fucking drop, because you're just repeating toxic old cycles instead of going the high vibe Capricorn energy. I'm gonna do. I might just have to make a tarot deck that is just more congruent and grounded and modernized. Because, bro, this is not like, I mean, like Saturn and structure and system and dude, Capricorn energy is awesome. I don't care. Like, they've really, like, Aries, Capricorn, Scorpio, even Virgo. Like, there's a lot of signs out here that get some bad raps, and I mean, dude, it's just people being weird. Like, someone once said, oh, a Scorpio being a runner? Never, or something like that. And I was like, and it wasn't on this channel, it was somewhere else. And I was like, dude, anyone can be a runner. Oh, a Scorpio, like, I mean, but it is a little King of Cupsy, right? But it's not like avoidance, though, on the high vibe end. It's like, this isn't working, and I'm shutting this down to preserve self. So, I mean, we got so much to look at and learn, and, a lot of readers can mix things up and stuff. I'm going to show you this card, because is that not what we're all working towards here? Ten of Pentacles here. And that could represent a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But you're not giving up. you're going forward. I hate using this card for this because it does not represent what I see when I think and feel Capricorn energy. But it does represent some things associated with the sign when people are too rigid, right? Yeah, like no emotions, all rigidity. What the fuck am I saying? I'm out of here, dude. I'm gonna land it on that. You guys have a great day. Continue bringing balance to your lives. Even though it gets a little choppy on the, you're the calm in the center of the storm because you choose you, the Ace of Pentacles, time and time again. And as you continue to choose you, you just keep on going forward. And what's aligned with you doesn't need to be forced, fit, chased after, or anything. Here's the thing is that there's so many out there unhealed. To look at the shadow side, to integrate the shadow side, a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to acknowledge anything or what they've done or what's happened to them. They'd rather keep the shadow side alive and well, screaming like a little baby that's infected and all wounded and stuff. And so that way they have a good out on their fucking shitty ass behavior. Yeah, people in recovery do this stuff all the time. A lot of people in recovery will attain like absence of drugs and alcohol and forget about this inner work. They may even do the 12 steps or whatever. But you see what I'm saying here, though, is if you really aren't doing it and feeling on the like if you aren't fully turning yourself over to it, you're screwing the pooch. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're screwing the process up. And I've watched it. I've been in so many 12-step meetings. It's ridiculous. And I promise you, so many meetings, it's ridiculous because there was portions of my life where me and my buddy were hitting 3 a day. Now this wasn't like an everyday thing, but oh yeah, we definitely 2 meetings a day, 3 a day. Lots and lots of meetings. And I've seen this over and over, and I'm saying not everyone, but lots of people will go into the space of recovery, the rooms of recovery, and it's like once I get like a year or more and continue on that, like start laying that groundwork, it's like, they just throw their gloves like, oh, I did it. I'm sober. And then they continue living in patterns that are toxic. But then they want to be like, well, I'm in recovery and or like da 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 da. And then they'll do. I've watched it all. It gets really like, I don't know. Or being like, if you don't go to AA or NA, you're going to relapse or like you're going to crash out. That's outsourcing agency, sovereignty. Like it'd be like, well, I can't make it unless I go to AA every day, or every time I get a hangnail or the cat shits on the floor, I got to go to AA and tell them all about it and bitch and complain. There's a very specific place I don't go to because the energy is just so bad in there, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're the ones that made it, but then we have people coming in and being like, oh, poor me, because fucking 5 years ago I did this to Susie, and, well, I'm just a piece of shit, and or da-da-da. Like, dude, if you do the healing work, guess what? You'll forgive yourself and continue moving on. Or, maybe you'll apologize to Susie or whatever it is. I've seen some really fucked up shit. Like a guy who would come in and be like, and this wasn't even at a meeting, dude. This is why I can talk about it, because it was not a meeting. Poor me, my girlfriend overdosed and died and da 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 da. Wah wah wah. And then one fucking time, this guy says, oh, well, I was fucking her sponsor. So she went out, relapsed, and overdosed. She's dead. Her child, the father's also dead. But this guy would come in and be like, Why me? Why me? Why? Golden platter kid. Silver platter kid. Poor him. Poor fucking him. How about poor that girl? And how about poor her son? How about her family? How about her kids? Or kid, I don't know if she had multiple, but I know she had a son. What about her son? But, oh, poor me, he was fucking her sponsor. Wah. This is the shit why I don't go in there, because I sat there long enough. And you know what I mean? I got sick of drowning out, like turning off my ears when other people be talking some dumb shit, which was almost the whole 60 minutes and before and after. Grumpy old men coming in, screaming, flipping out, but they got 20 plus years of recovery. Good time. Oh my gosh. I guess that'll be another story because I'm at 51 minutes. Yo, stay blessed.